Last orders at the bar, please.
Welcome to Tavern Tales, a curated 5e Dungeons & Dragons adventure set in the tales of the Yawning Portal campaign module by Wizards of the Coast.
Previously on Tavern Tales, we've met the group, we've learned their objective, and now it's time to plan and depart. And I guess talk about their awesome vehicles.
Come sit down and drink with the enemy, raise a glass and toast to the enemy, and I'm not gonna do this on my own. So come sit down and laugh with the enemy, raise a glass and sing to the enemy, and I'm not gonna do this on my own. So I won't end up being alone, 'cause I won't drink my drink alone. So what about you? One beer or two, I'll drink to you.
And so, our heroes met, awkwardly for the first time, and much as solo heroes do, they all agreed to separate and meet again 3 days hence at the city walls to begin their journey after resupplying and gleaning what information they could about the adventure and the dangers they faced ahead. They said nothing to each other but nodded in accord and then went on their separate ways, as solo heroes often do. And so your characters have left, and what I would like from the three of you is, what do you want to get for physical artifacts and supplies, and what do you want to know about the adventure, the dungeon, the dangers you face that you may be able to purchase and learn in this metropolis you find yourselves in that is a journey's away from White Plume Mountain. There will be a couple of towns that you know on the map between where you are now. So you don't need supplies for the entire time because you probably pick things up in these different towns on the way. However, based on the map and where you know White Plume Mountain to be and where this dungeon awaits, what has been triggered to be where Caraptus is holding these valuable items of these three lords, that it is 2 days away from any solid town. While you could easily go into the dungeon and out of the dungeon, back and forth, if you set up a supply camp for yourselves outside of it, you won't be too close to any civilization place to pick up new things or buy new items. So who would like to go first?
Hi, I'm Paige, and I am playing Zuvis Movdak, who is a paladin of the seas and very arrogant.
But not a paladin.
Right. Palatine.
What is your class?
I'm an alchemist. And my race is a Triton.
You an alchemist or an artificer?
Oh, I'm an artificer alchemist.
Yeah.
Alchemist is the subclass.
There you go.
Okay. I'm an artificer, and I am Triton. And it is a lot of learning.
Yes, it is. What's your character up to?
Zuvis is currently filling his backpack. He's gotten a backpack.
What's this look like, this backpack?
It is the highest quality of material.
Nice.
It's a very nice looking backpack.
So is it shiny? Does it have scales?
The pockets have scales. So the rest of the bag looks like it's leather. And then all of the accent pieces are scales.
Oh, wow.
And then there's some copper accents just with it almost looks like copper threading done throughout the backpack. It's beautiful. And he has filled it with some rations.
Of course.
And a water flask.
Like fish flakes and whatnot?
Yeah. Some jars of sardines and...
Love it.
Yeah.
Kelp and seaweed?
Yeah. Because it really, it's super healthy, gives you a lot of energy for long day treks, which they're probably going to be doing.
Yep. The food of his peoples.
Yeah, exactly. A pair of scissors just to cut any fishing lines.
Super important.
Especially with Vulcan coming on this trip. Zuvis can't be too careful.
Nice.
Yeah, so he's looking to just make sure that there's food that he'll eat on the trip and filling his water.
As a solo adventurer does, preparing all of the rations that he or she may want to have for themselves.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Is he allowed to get a horse?
You probably already have some sort of horse or traveling companion or broom or something that you take about, or a cart whatsoever. You're level 7 adventurer. I assume you get around.
Okay.
And by getting around, you have some vehicle or means by which to get around. Perhaps you have some sort of seafoam horse, because once you reach the water, it turns into a hippocampus. What are the horses that are also like half fish, half horse?
Hippogriff? No,
So
I was thinking of like an alligator or something.
those are not fast creatures.
Oh, they're slow.
Right? Dire alligators are, they're dashers, not long.
What about like a
I mean, they're
dolphin
floating,
with legs?
they're floating logs with teeth.
Yeah. I like the water horse idea.
Yeah, and why not?
Do we know what they're called?
You could definitely look that up on Google, but I definitely would like to know what they're called. By that, I mean their name. So while you're looking that up, and you've got your horse, and yeah, these are beautiful descriptive things.
Its name is Bubbles.
Of course. Or Foamy.
Bubbles.
Bubbles. So while you figure out which that is, because I think they're the children of Poseidon.
Kelpies?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh,
The horse.
that's a shape-changing aquatic spirit.
Yeah, what we're looking for is horse fish, and they're Poseidon's children as well, which is always weird.
Oh, yeah, look at that. Fierce seahorses with heads of a horse and tails of a fish. Hippocampus.
I was right.
I have a hippocampus
Yeah.
named Bubbles.
Tell you what, you can have 2 hippocampi, because I really like the name Foamy. So you've got Bubbles and Foamy, and they pull your chariot,
I love it.
which is like a submersible water chariot too.
Love it.
Because why not?
Does
right?
it turn
Ride
into a
style.
submarine? It has like a little barrier that comes up.
You don't
Well, I
need
can
it.
breathe underwater.
Exactly.
That's
you
dumb.
don't care. Just it does have a like a compartment that is waterproof for you to store the things that are not, or only for your land
Right.
needs. So anyway, this is great. I love this color. I'm going to come back to you because you probably want to know information. You might want to do some investigatory checks to find out what may await you on the other side.
Yeah, I would like to do that.
Perfect. So while you're thinking about the information that you need to come up with, let's move on to the next person at the table.
I'll go next. So I am Aaron, and I am playing Vulcan, Master of the Six Galleons, who is a tiefling barbarian. We're going to go Path of the Beast on this one. He too has a backpack, but it's not as ornate or as spectacular as Zuvus's backpack. It's just a standard worn brown leather bag that cinches off at the top that he's got slung over his shoulder. He's picked up a couple of lesser healing potions, and his main kind of goal is to figure out, how long the trek is going to be to get to White Plume Mountain. And
So these lesser healing potions,
yes,
are they, oh my god, somebody's dying, 1d4 plus 2 hit points healing potions? Is that what we're talking about here
Yeah.
for lesser healing potions? Like,
some basic.
this is not going to get you back in the fight in any way, shape, or form, but we don't have to spare the dying here over on the Vulcan bus, so this is what we use.
Yeah.
All right, cool. You have 6 of those.
Sweet.
Because, at level 7, 1d4 plus 2 does not go a long way.
Yeah.
Like, you're getting an average of, like, maybe 5 hit points, 4.5 hit points per dosage. So I'm granting you, 28 hit points, 29 hit points? Not a ton.
I have some healing stuff.
Cool. But Vulcan, he don't.
I don't.
Yeah, and you're on your own.
Right? And you're solo heroes. So, like, you're used to doing your thing about it. So how do you get around town? You're a level 7 hero. How are you traveling in the world?
I am a winged tiefling.
A winged tiefling.
Yes, so I take flight.
And you're not going to fly yourself everywhere. Do you not have some way of getting about that does not cause you to tire and become exhausted?
Turtle.
A turtle? Flying turtle? Oh my god, I love it.
No, not a turtle.
I mean, so you're the seas.
He takes rickshaws around.
Oh, okay.
Just around town.
How does he travel from one place to the next though? Like he's probably been all over the entire coastline, right?
Yeah, he just uses just a regular, like when he's on land, he's just riding a horse. Nothing too fancy for him.
I gave you a perfect opportunity for a goddamn flying boat, and you're like
Flying boat?
like an actual galleon that can
that'd be
sail
so
the
cool.
skies, and you're like, I walk.
Can it be a boat on the water and the skies?
I mean, a boat that can fly would also be able to go on the water, but yeah. Anyway,
Like the one from
hey,
Stardust.
this is just I know it could be, but this is just this is squad goals for
There's a
Aaron.
little
He
one
had
person.
one, he's lost it.
Yeah, it's all right. I'll go for that.
There's a little one-person boat that sunk at the dock.
Although honestly, a flying turtle is also totally intriguing to me too. So sitting cross-legged on it in Zen pose while the
my
turtle's
gosh.
flying you around.
That'd be good for a monk.
Little handy haversack off to one side. Cool. All right. Yeah. He takes rickshaws around. So he's got a rickshaw rental contract that
Yes.
he works off of. Okay, cool.
He's got a punch card.
What is a rickshaw?
The 2-wheeled things with the long poles, and somebody sits in the cart while somebody like runs in front of it. Yeah.
Very common in like Asia and India and things like
Yeah.
that.
And I'm going to say that you own your own rickshaw, and there is a bound wind sprite to the rickshaw.
Okay.
So you can just hop in, and this bound wind spirit, little dust devil, then pulls the rickshaw wherever you want to go. He's not extremely reliable, but he gets you where you need to be.
Has
Cool.
late nights.
Like, like he'll swerve and try to throw him every now and again. Not especially happy about this contract that's got this elemental bound to, but nonetheless, it's good to go.
Hello.
Awesome.
Anything else? Nope. All right, I'm going to come back to you for the information piece so you can ask questions about the dungeon that you want to know leading into it.
Okay.
I'm Marie Claire. I am playing Faces Phase, the Raven Queen's cursed creation. That's my nomiker. But I am a warlock, warforged. Kind of looks like a porcelain doll and just as creepy. There's a little known collectible. It's not really a game, but it's like they come in these like little packages where you don't know what you're going to be get, but they're little figurines that you can buy in certain towns, and you don't know what's going to be in the package, but you're trying to get them all. And it's called anyway. So she spends, because she hasn't been in this town before, so she's gonna look around and find all of these little collectible packages and buy as many of them that she can and open them all up to see if she has, the ones that she's been missing. And they're just like little like figurines, little crystal figurines inside of the little packages. And it's one of those things where she spends a lot of time doing that. And then buying, a few healing potions that are easy to go.
Little do you know, these little figurines have tiny souls inside of them, and when they break, you actually release all of the captured souls, and these are from a wicked warlock.
Oh,
I mean, did I not know that?
Well, I mean, you've been buying the Wicked Warlock collectible collection.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would think you would know.
I love that.
Gotta watch out for that person. Steal our souls.
But you never know what you're going to get when you open them. And that's the joy, right? You got to buy more.
Just releases screams of the people they've captured.
It's got really dark. In fact, I'm going to suggest that maybe it's not souls of captured people, because that sounds so
I was cool
in
with just
line
little
already.
crystal, like,
so in line
figures.
already with this story. But I do like the idea that there's a random magical effect that happens when you break them, because they're meant to be
Why would I break them?
Because they're meant to be broken.
Oh, fine. Okay.
But maybe your character is not going to break them because these are collectibles and they're supposed to,
Maybe you find out what they do if you accidentally break them.
Wicked Warlock collectibles.
Mm-hmm. Yep. This is from my children I wanted to like replicate like Pokemon cards. Like, you never know what you're going to get inside the pack, and I gotta
catch
get
'em all.
more. Or like when they went through the phase of collecting the little figurines of whatever they were into in that moment, and they had to have every single collectible package. That's her thing. Do you want to know how I get about town?
Sure. This is not my question. My question was not, how do you get places? My question was, what items do you feel you'll need on this adventure? And what information do you want to know for the dungeon you're about to go into? What can you glean and learn from the people about town?
I mean, it's a dungeon,
that's
so
fine.
she's going to buy a dungeoneering pack
Okay.
as well.
Standard, regular size, regular
Yeah.
version Dungeoneers pack procured. Everybody sells those. Yeah. It's like a roadside assistance thing at every SO or Petro-Canada.
Yep.
Cool. So we're going back to Paige now.
I would like to try and find out if there's anyone in town that's gone to White Plume Mountain and has an indication of what type of creatures we're going to come across.
Cool. Why don't you make some form of gather information check?
Investigation?
Yeah.
Oh,
Holy moly.
awesome. Natural 19 for a total
Wow.
of 23.
So you have no actual skill in investigation. That's just your root. Hey, I'm really smart of a person, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. With a 23, that's over 20. So you're not able to find anyone that's been to White Plume Mountain. You find out that anybody who has been to White Plume Mountain never came back. There has been several adventuring parties that were sent before your group was hired, like lower level people that were like, just kind of cannon fodder, go check this out. As soon as they found White Plume Mountain, so we do know where the dungeon is, but no one who's tried to plumb its depths has ever returned. That is the biggest concern.
Okay.
But based on the items that were stolen, it definitely seems that the elements are at play. And so there would definitely be some form of fire elemental piece. There will be some form of water piece, maybe air. Like it seems like there's some elemental piece that's going on, which is why those particular artifacts were stolen, because they seem to have an elemental nature. And this fellow who has sent out this poem, that's Caraptus, that no one has heard this name in an aeon, leads people to suspect that, he's boutique, a specialty shop version of a dungeon. Like he's got a very niche. So Zuvus is done. Vulcan, what's going on? What are you looking to find out for information?
Vulcan's really interested as to why it is called White Plume Mountain.
Because there is a plume of white smoke that comes out of the top of it.
Well, do they know what's like creating that plume?
Yeah, why don't you make a history check, since there really isn't a geography skill in this game.
15 total.
That's not bad. That's much better than I was expecting to come from you. Are you skilled in this thing at all?
Oh, no, sorry. That's a -1 in history. 13.
It's still better than I was expecting from you, but it did not crack that 15 threshold I really had for certain pieces of it. So there's a lot of conjecture on it that you found because you haven't gone to the right places for this information. So you have found out that it's either, an inactive volcano, or there's some sort of burning element that's going on underneath that's causing this plume of smoke to come out. It could be steam, but that's largely conjecture. Like who knows what it is that's causing it. But nonetheless, they found it and they know where it is, and that's the one. You're not able to really find out why. Any other questions?
None.
All right. So Thesis phase.
I would like to know if there is any talking in the warlock circles. I go find my warlock peeps.
Sure.
I'm going to find out if there's any bound incubi or, things that dwellers of the deep might know about that is just not talked about in the general. We got our back channels to those that are bound in service to our patrons,
Roll an Arcana check.
I got a 22.
Oh.
22.
Still well over 20. So yes, you also find out that the binding that's involved here is of an elemental nature.
Okay. Yeah.
Because Caraptus, you are told in a back room where the Wicked Warlocks figurines are sold, a hag who is a big time seller of Wicked Warlocks items does know a little bit about Caraptus and says there's no way that it's likely that he would invoke the binding of any sort of demonic or devilish figure, with rare exception, because he prefers or had preferred in the history of him. I mean, she's not even old enough, and she's a hag, so they live forever too. She's not even old enough to really have known Caraptus, but she's known of him and of the stories that he was big into binding others to his service as a wizard. That's how he gained his power, was in the binding of others.
Is he one of the people behind the Wicked Wizard collection?
You mean the Wicked Warlock collection?
No. Yeah, no, he's not a warlock. He's just a...
He's definitely not connected to your delightful but non-essential quest. Cool. Any other questions? Anything else you'd like to learn before you meet back up? Anything else you'd like to procure in advance of your adventure?
No, I think I'm okay.
Okay.
Thumbs up from me.
All right. I like how you were like, oh yeah, we're podcasting. I better say what I just did.
Well, no, I was just looking at what I have. And
but then you were like, a thumbs up from me. Right. Say the words. It's been a while.
I'm not on camera like I was yesterday.
Nice. Man, on an aside, gaming in person is so much better than gaming on camera in a Zoom chat or whatnot, because one reason and one reason only. Everyone knows I'm talking to Paige right now.
Yep.
Everyone knows I'm talking to Marie Claire right now, except for Marie Claire because she's not looking at us. But in Zoom...
Yeah.
Nobody knows who's looking at who. What's going on? It should be so clear, like, Aaron, why don't you tell me what's going on with your character? And we're not used to doing that in normal society as well. And then also, we're used to looking at each other, so it takes a lot of mental acuity to be like, oh yeah, I better refer to the people I'm talking to. And also, when you throw something out to the group, hey, what do you guys want to do? No one knows who to take the lead on that.
Yeah, because you can't really tell the social cues.
Right? We all look around and then everybody looks at Chelsea. You're going to do this right. As opposed to in Zoom.
Yeah.
No one knows. If you're running a stream game, call your players out by name, ask them specific questions, get your players to involve the other players in their scenes. So none of you interact with each other in the city. Even if you do happen to spot each other in the city while you're traveling around, my understanding based on just how things went last session is that no one even engages with each other while they're out in the city. And at the predetermined time of 7 a.m.,
So early.
at the eastern walls of the city, just outside on the left-hand side, the 5 of you have determined to meet. Now, we do not have our other 2 players today because I don't think they're going to be able to make it to the rest of this adventure. We'll find out. But nonetheless, the 3 of you are there at 7 a.m. or earlier or later. What happens? Who's first to arrive? How do you get there? What's going on?
I would say Zuvis arrives first because he is very prompt just given his role and expectations that have been set with him.
How early is Zuvis there?
He's there at 6 a.m.
Oh my goodness. An hour ahead of time.
Yeah. And he sets up a little flag so that it's like a very official meeting spot.
Cool. So Zuvis is probably also the one who was like, we will meet at this place at this time.
Yes.
On this side of the road, the specific layout of the whole entire thing. Who's next to arrive?
I'm going to say it's going to be Thesis. Thesis doesn't sleep really.
Right.
So on time, right at 7, unless you're before that.
No.
Okay. Yeah.
Cool.
Right. Like if somebody says you arrive at a party at 7 o'clock,
You arrive at 7.
you arrive at 7 o'clock.
Okay, perfect. You walk
Her
out the city
internal
gates.
clock says
So you time it to walk out the city gates.
and arrive. And actually she like wanders around a little bit just so that she arrives right at 7.
Okay, that sounds great to me. You see the flag set in the ground by Zuvis.
I'm like, oh, how thoughtful.
Yes. Do you have a mode of transportation?
Can I have a fire horse that has blue flame hair? I'm talking about Strahd's horse. Maybe a pony. A mini version.
You ride a pony that has flame hair.
Yeah, and flame hooves.
Sure.
That's Strahd's.
What is this horse's name?
Bluey.
I totally was imagining Hades.
Oh, Hades. Sure.
The blue hair. The
That's
blue
Hades'
flame.
son.
Like
Son's name.
Hades. Oh, Zagreus. Let's go with Zagreus.
Ooh, I like that.
It's a pony after all. It's not
Yeah.
full-on stallion.
That's true.
I ride Atco Blue Flame Kitchen.
Zagreus.
That's hilarious.
That's a very local deep cut.
Yeah, shout out Atco. Lower our fees.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, please.
Or to our local government, put the cap back in place. Come on.
Let's cap it.
So, what time does Vulcan arrive?
About 7:15. And
Oh my.
even then, like, he's in the rickshaw, but he's like still getting dressed because he like just woke up.
Yep.
So the air elemental is pulling him left and right across the path, trying to hit as many bumps as possible to kind of like to wake Vulcan up.
Oh my god.
And he's like, doing his pants up, throwing on his shirt.
How does he throw? What sort of shirt does he wear with wings across his back?
There's cutouts on it. So
Does he wear more like just a vest or a 2-piece shirt that he has to lace in the front?
it's more a vest
Okay.
than anything.
Cool.
So it's more functional, and he's got his...
Does his vest have a collar?
No, it does not.
Okay, collarless vest.
This is a game, not real life.
He doesn't have wings in real life.
Yeah, he would be getting dressed 15 minutes
Oh, that's
after.
true. No, he's just really connecting his character to his own state. That's fine.
Own lived in experience of not being on time.
There has been no communication between Thesis and Zuvis before Vulcan arrives. It's now 7:15. Vulcan arrives. How long does the group wait for the other 2 members of this party before they set off or try to do something to figure out what happened?
I think probably 7:30.
So like 15 more minutes
Yeah.
and now 7:30.
Yeah.
And then what happens?
Anything longer than that, it's going to throw us off our time schedule for our next stop.
I agree. My mother says that whenever you wait longer than 15 minutes, you're being really, really rude. Somebody should have sent a messenger by now.
I think anything over the time you're supposed to be here for is really rude, but I'm not surprised.
He seems on time now. You can't even be disgruntled with Vulcan.
I don't like him to be in with.
Fair, but he's here and the other 2 aren't. So it's hard to even like throw shade at him when there's darker shade out there with 2 others not in
He
attendance.
gets light shade. They get even more shade.
Doesn't even feel like shade though when blaring light of the sun is still kind of cast upon you. So it's fine. So at 7:30, what happens?
Well, the other 2 have not arrived. I expect they drank too much last night and did not recall that they needed to wake up, and we should probably head out.
I agree. Yep. Slackers.
So what's the plan? Are we walking there, or what type of transportation are we taking?
I don't walk. As you can see, I have my lovely 2 hippocampus here with my chariot to take me as I deserve.
So I'll just hitch a ride in the back then.
No. It is a 1-person chariot.
but there's bench seating in the back where the tarp is covering.
Well, that's not
a chariot.
That's not a bench. That's the tarp covering your gear.
Yeah. Well, like, I'm thinking like a little chariot.
Yeah, no,
Like a-
yeah.
Oh, like a Roman chariot kind of thing?
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
Roman chariot with a little, but it does kind of look like a little bench because it's got protected, waterproofed gear.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of a box.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there. That's my stuff.
You didn't think to plan any way of a mode of transportation for yourself?
And he's got a rickshaw with a air elemental
Yeah.
right there. Can I bunk up with you and ride in your chariot?
Yeah, but because it's outside of the city, I have to pay him double. That's the contract. Even though it's a bad contract for him, he's got...
Air chariot.
His name is Stuber.
Uber. Stuber.
Fine if I can't sit on your equipment, as he says with air quotes.
What are you insinuating?
Never mind.
That is never going to happen, maybe.
Maybe.
That was good.
I'm fine. I got my pony. Come
That
on.
was not what I was asking.
Oh, what were you asking? Sorry.
So what do you do at 7:30?
Oh,
Do you just leave? Do you leave a note? Do you go back into town to check to see if they're around?
I'll leave a note on the flag. I'll leave the flag in place and I'll put a little note and attach it to the flag just saying, you were not here promptly by 7. We waited for you until 7:30. We are now off schedule. We are leaving. Follow our trail if you want to catch up.
They know where to go.
Yeah.
You all know where to go. You don't have to go there together.
Yeah.
But it's more convenient to travel out into the wilderness where there are random encounters and terrible things that lurk to go together. Does anybody else want to do more than this very small thing that Zuvus is doing?
I don't have anything useful like whisper or message or anything like that. So
Well, message is like you can see the person, so that really wouldn't
Yeah.
help you in this scenario. Sending is a viable option.
I don't have a setting.
You are a warlock. I wouldn't expect you to have sending.
I have an unseen servant that could make a rose garden with a direction arrow while we're gone. Just be like, dig up some roses and all right.
Vulcan offers to do a quick flyover of the city just
Okay.
to see if he can spot them maybe walking towards
Sure.
the eastern side of
How long does he spend doing that?
Maybe. So the other two, Zuvis and Thesis, scout out. They go out ahead, and he takes about 10 minutes just flying over the city, doesn't spot them, and then finds
So
them
it
on the
takes
trip.
10 minutes.
Yeah.
You guys, do you wait till 7:40 for
No.
him to do a quick flyby?
No.
Okay. Do you travel slower so that he has an opportunity to catch up?
Yes.
Oh, okay. For expediency's sake, you fly over the city, see nothing. Even if you roll the best perception check possible, you do not find them because they're not out and about, or they said, screw you guys and left early, or they went somewhere else. Who knows what it is? We might find out later. We might never find out. At 7:40 or thereabout, whatever, you fly back to your rickshaw, you pay Stuber double, and you blast forward at 1.25 the speed of what it is. So you're still going at a good clip, but you're going over the limit a bit. Catch up to these people who are going slower than they need to. And by 8 o'clock, you've caught back up. The three of you are riding abreast down the road. And we will do what I always love to do, thanks to Colin Valcanet, to waylay travel and make it a lot smoother and more fun and more player-oriented. Please, all three of you roll a 20-sided die.
Uh-oh. Oh, nice.
14.
I got an octopus.
Now,
That is cracking.
if you have rolled 10 or less, something negative happens on the trip. You will describe that for me and we will role play that out. If something 15 to 11 has happened, then something minorly positive but humorous has occurred on the trip and we'll role play that out. And if you've gotten 16 or higher, something positive has happened on the trip and you can describe that for us and we can role play that out as needed. It doesn't necessarily have to be role played out. It could literally just be, we saved 2 days of travel because we shopped with Geico. I don't know.
Raise a glass and drink with the enemy. Raise a glass and sing with the enemy. And I'm not gonna do this on my own. And raise a glass and toast to the enemy. Raise a glass and sing to the enemy. And I'm not gonna do this on my own.
This concludes this episode of Tavern Tales, a curated Dungeons & Dragons 5e game set in the Tales of the Yawning Portal adventure module by Wizards of the Coast. Our intro and outro music is the song Tavern Tales by the Bad Billy Band. You can find out more about the Bad Billy Band on iTunes or at www.badbillyband.com, or follow them on Twitter at badbillyband. Thanks for listening. Please feel free to leave us a review on iTunes or find us on Twitter at Tavern_Tales. We'll be back next week with more of the adventure.